Hello and Happy New Year. Welcome to our very first 2015 show. My name is Musam Kalipi, and as always, we're here to bring you all things art and entertainment from around the African continent. Now, to keep in touch, feel free to email us at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za. Also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @afroshowbiznews. Now, today we will do a continuation of our 2014 highlights where we show you all the stories that stood out. The award-winning global theatre phenomenon Warhorse was on stage to impress the local audiences at the Teatro in Monte Cassino, Johannesburg.
The production has been seen by over 5 million people worldwide since its opening at the National Theatre in 2007. During its successful run on Broadway, it received 5 Tony Awards plus a special Tony Award for Handspring Puppet Company.
Let's show Joey to the army!
Warhorse is a powerful story of a young boy called Albert and his beloved horse Joey, who has been requisitioned to fight for the British in World War I. Caught in the enemy crossfire, Joey ends up serving on both sides during the war before landing in no man's land, while Albert, not old enough to enlist, embarks on a treacherous mission to find his horse and bring him home. A remarkable tale of courage, loyalty, and friendship. Warhorse features groundbreaking puppetry work by South Africa's Handspring Puppet Company, which brings breathing and galloping horses to life on stage. The brilliant actors and genius of South Africa's Handspring Puppet Company made Warhorse an absolutely extraordinary spectacle in the theatre.
Conceived in 2009, Inala, a Zulu ballet, took place at the Sadler's Wells Theatre in London earlier this year. Inala is a unique artistic collaboration between choral legends Lady Smith Black Mambazo, multi-award-winning choreographer Mark Baldwin, and world-class dancers from the Royal Ballet and Rambert Dance Company. Created by a team that includes the talents of current and former members of the Royal Ballet and Rambert, this new production embraces a fusion of South African and Western cultures live on stage. Inala, meaning harvest to reap or abundance of goodwill, offers the opportunity to bring together these two very different cultural performing practices, the Zulu tradition of song and dance and Western contemporary dance and ballet. The project was brought to the fore by Eraspera's passion for love of African music. Through this passion and network of musicians, poets and producers, Ella and Pietra met with Lady Smith Black Mambazo in London, where the group attended their first ballet. It was during this time that the first seeds of Inala were sown. Inala's original music is composed and performed by Lady Smith Black Mambazo, the multiple Grammy Award-winning South African isicathamiya group, led by Joseph Shabalala and Ella Spera. Inala blends the rhythms and harmonies of native musical roots with live percussion, piano, and strings. Lady Smith sing in isiZulu and remain on stage throughout the entire 70 minutes performance, along with 9 dancers and 5 instrumentalists. A jewelry and handcraft school in Cairo is attracting creative students with the goal of producing independent jewelry designers. The jewelry school is sponsored by renowned jewelry designer Azza Fahmy from Egypt.
These students work with silver, gold and stones. They learn metal smithing techniques, design-making skills, sewing, filing and forging, among other things. Azza Fahmy's jewelry school was created with the intention of helping local students.
I
thought, why not open up a school, because a lot of people were thinking in the same way as Azza Fahmy. They want to learn well, but can't go to Europe to learn. So we created this humble school for them.
The jewelry studio will next year be celebrating 2 years. Fahmy says they are also encouraged to think outside the box. She wants her students to think freely and be able to create what they think of and be innovative. One of her students, Omar Raouf, said he has felt change since joining the studio 3 months ago.
When I started out, I had no experience in creating or producing anything, not even in drawing.
but I always felt like there was this energy that needs to be released. They helped me here to do that, and my view of myself changed completely after this experience.
Fami uses traditional and modern jewelry designs. She has created an international brand and she is one of the country's best-known entrepreneurs. The Asa Fami company was founded by Fami herself, then a graduate of fine arts in 1969. She now employs around 200 people in her factory producing work that appeals greatly on Egypt's Islamic, Christian and Pharaohic heritage. Another student, Mai Sami Wedden, said jewelry design is an art form.
It's not common to hear about someone that studies jewelry design, but I think it's something that can be valued as much as any other art form.
Fami began selling her first pieces of jewelry at small fairs and exhibitions. Her company now has numerous stores in Cairo and the Middle East, as well as outlets in the United Kingdom, including an online store. Her work has also been featured at London and New York Fashion Week and in collaborations with leading international designers.
The PPC Cement Company has just launched the Imaginarium Awards. These awards aim to promote arts and design in the country. Now, on Wednesday, a collaboration of fashion and the use of cement in making various artworks was unveiled. For more on this, we are joined in studio by Dion Chang, thought leader of the project, as well as a trendsetter. Hello and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Now, Dion, what brought about the creation of these awards?
Well, I think for PPC, they've been doing a sculpture award for about 20 years, which has become quite an iconic award. And I think it's a new millennium, new century, and I think they just decided to reinvent it. So this one is actually open up to 6 disciplines in the creative field. So fashion, jewelry design, architecture, art, and product design. And it encompasses a much wider range of creative industries. So, and each pillar has a thought leader, and each pillar, whoever wins that, wins about 50,000 rands worth of prize money.
All right. Now, Dion, how has your experience in fashion influenced these awards?
Well, I think it's a combination of what I do now, which is run a trends company, Flux Trends, and just being in the creative field and looking at design in general. So my role is really to be the champion across all of the 6 pillars, and to as it rolls out, we're going to do workshops so that each of the thought leaders helps the younger creatives in those industries to produce stuff. And my role really is to encourage cross-disciplinary collaboration, which is the new trend.
Speaking of collaboration, tell us about the collaboration between cement and fashion.
It happened about 2 years ago when it took everybody quite by surprise when PPC actually supported designer Suzanne Haynes, and everyone thought, well, how are you going to mix concrete and cement and fashion, but they did it beautifully. It was all about the tones of the concrete and the application of dust onto the clothing. So what we're trying to do is ask people to really go and push the envelope, and which is why. So for example, in Cape Town there was a fashion film festival recently. So even if you're a designer, maybe collaborate with a product designer or industrial designer or a jewelry designer, create a film. So we want to really promote that cross collaboration, but also mostly just to ignite the creative fields as well.
Now, Dion, the next awards will be taking place next year, Feb. Tell us about the process leading to then.
What we do now is start to roll out and have some workshops with each of the key industries. So architecture will have something, jewelry design, fashion design will do that. As we're doing that, we just really want to promote and make sure that the entrants get as much help as possible, as much guidance, because they've got incredible thought leaders in each of the categories. So, for example, David Tlali in the fashion pillar, sculptor Diane Victor, who's going to help those people. So really high-level people that are able to, people that want to enter the awards are able to tap into, and I think they should really take that opportunity, because you've got the ear of these people, and you don't normally have that.
Yes, of course. Now, as a trendsetter, how is fashion? How are the fashion trends in the world changed rather?
I think it's really odd to say it for me, but I don't think they are there are really prescriptive trends in fashion. You're seeing a move towards a tipping point that is still coming, and that's what I'm kind of feeling, that we need a new point of view, because I think we've looked at celebrity culture far too long, and there's just kind of mass fashion, and we are going into an era of new design movements, which is why the Imaginarium Awards is so exciting for me to help and champion.
All right. Now, Dion, you also published a book titled New Urban Tribes of South Africa. Tell us a bit more about that.
It was a bit of my challenge to the advertising industry, because we always segment people by LSMs, so living standards measurements. So, you know, and my question, I wrote a column and I said, you know, why am I being defined by my fridge? Because if you are in the sort of, you know, if you are able to own certain appliances, you get pushed up into different socioeconomic brackets. So Urban Tribes is more about like-mindedness and how people clump together. So it's more about psychographics rather than demographics. And we had really interesting ones. We looked deep under the skin of South African pop culture, and you had things like Single Mom Double Lives and the new Empowerment Kugel and the Afrikaans Artiste. We really looked at the subcultures in South Africa and brought a sort of a modern take on them.
All right, and now briefly, Dion, for all aspiring artists out there, how can they now become thought leaders like yourself?
I think it's a long journey. You've got to really you've got to be passionate about your craft, and I think this is the problem always with creative industries and creative people. You use your left brain, your right brain, and you don't really use your left brain enough. But what we're seeing in a digital era and in 21st century, you've got to kind of really have both disciplines. So for me, being a creative, it's a hard journey, but you've got to learn the business of what you're doing in order to become successful.
All right, thank you so much, Dion. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Now, please note that interview was done earlier this year, as we are doing our 2014 highlights. Now, we'll go for a quick ad break, but do stay tuned for more.
It could be a gloomy Christmas for many South Africans whose jobs are on a knife's edge.
But the concern this time around is that there's certainly a spike and all sectors of the economy face risk.
Solidarity is involved in 45 different retrenchment exercises, and it cuts across all sectors.
While most retrenchments are expected in the mining and manufacturing sectors, analysts say the public sector will not escape.
So people are now sitting on their hands because the future is very uncertain.
Primetime News, daily at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Elelwane, the first Venda language film, screened for the first time this year. The film stars veteran actress Florence Masebe, who won the 2013 African Movie Academy Award for Best Actress in a leading role for her role as Elelwane.
It's not easy to play someone who is at least 15 years younger than you are. Florence Masebe found this out as she was preparing for her role in Elelwane.
The preparation involved going to have loads and loads of anti-aging collagen facials because I was expected to play a very young girl. At the time when this was starting, I was 37 years old, so it was not very easy. I was self-conscious and panicked a little bit about that, and it involved a lot of running, walking and dancing. To try and shed weight at the time because I had just come out of hospital and had bloated from being on steroids. And then the rest of it really involved a lot of work with the director. We rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, and when we knew we had found everyone, we were comfortable, we went to shoot.
Masebe is the lead actress in the first ever Venda feature film. She plays the title role of Eledwani. Her efforts have led to her receiving an important continental award.
It's absolutely beautiful, bittersweet. You know, I have always wished that if I get awarded, it would be on home ground. So it was kind of bittersweet that my first award for this, and very big one, had to be the biggest accolade for an actress on the continent of Africa. Best leading role, best actress in a lead role in the Africa Movie Academy Award. It was really, really beautiful. It was a little bit sad that I was doing it so far away from home, so there weren't enough people to cheer and be happy with me in the audience.
Eledwani is now in cinemas across South Africa.
Angelique Kidjo will headline at Carnegie Hall in New York in a tribute to Mama Africa. Kidjo cites Miriam Makeba as her own role model and career-long inspiration.
Angelique Kidjo will headline at Carnegie Hall in New York in a tribute to Mama Africa. Kidjo cites Miriam Makeba as her own role model and career-long inspiration. Makeba was the great South African singer and political activist during the days of apartheid. Kidjo herself is now an inspiration to others with her message, "Yes, the sky is the limit," and she urges them to reach for the stars. Like Kidjo, Makeba was a Grammy-winning performer widely recognized as the first African artist to make African music around the globe popular. She became known in the US for her hit song Pata Pata. As well as for collaborations with such artists as Harry Belafonte and Paul Simon. Mama Africa campaigned against South African apartheid, delivering historic speeches and testimonies before the United Nations General Assembly. Kidjo shared a close relationship with Makeba, studying with her and eventually performing with her in Paris and around South Africa.
This year, the Comic Choice Awards was celebrating its fourth year themed The Point of Funny. The main event was held at the Teatro, in Monte Cassino. Legendary comedian Mark Banks was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. He joins us in studio today, and Mark Banks, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Afroshowbiz News.
Yes.
First and foremost, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
And tell us how you feel about this achievement.
Thank you. I nearly brought the award today, but because it was Women's Day, the award is at the jewellers. I went to the jewellers to get it because they're keeping it in the safe, and it was closed. So because of Women's Day, I can't have my award with me to show the viewers. I'm very, very sorry.
Well, I'm sorry to the viewers that we can't see your award, but
beautiful white gold. It's about that big. I'm actually having it made bigger and a few more jewels put on it.
Is that even possible?
Yeah. It is.
All right. Can you please take us to your journey as a comedian? How has it been for you?
I started about 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I shouldn't still be alive, actually. But I'm only 55, so I thought I was a bit young to win the Lifetime Achievement Award, but I started fairly young. I think comedy in Africa then, comedy in South Africa certainly was primarily a white issue. White people went to see white people performing. Now, everybody's doing comedy. Everybody from everywhere. We even have, I see, a Sutu comedy festival coming up. 100% Sutu. Everybody's doing it. Everybody wants to laugh. There's no one who doesn't want to laugh, I don't think.
Now, did you ever think that you'd be such a successful comedian when you started out?
No, I gave myself 4 years. I thought 4 years, that's it. And I thought maybe at max 10. And as each year comes, new challenges, new news, new dispensations, new governments, new people in power, new people to shoot at, new people to... Because comedy is a weapon of mass destruction. If a politician goes onto a stage and the entire audience just scream with laughter, and he can't speak for people laughing, it's quite a quite an intense weapon to have.
Well, you're still here today, so what kept you going?
I think my humility, I think my kindness, I think my ability to work with other people, no, I'm talking rubbish. I think... No, I don't like other comedians. They terrify me. I'm terrified of comedians. Don't they terrify you?
No, why is that?
Because I never know what they're thinking. And worse than not knowing what somebody's thinking is knowing what someone's thinking, and that's usually worse than not knowing.
So what are you thinking
what they're thinking? What am I thinking right now? I'm wondering if Woolworths is open today, and if it is, what time it closes on a public holiday. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Well, is there a specific message that you tackle in your comedy shows?
I listen to people in lifts, on buses, on airplanes, at airports, in supermarkets, and listen to what other people are talking about and what the issues are. I take it from what people say to each other.
Now, what have been some of the challenges that you've faced as a comedian?
Probably staying current, updating material all the time, because in South Africa we have so much news every day, as you know. You could write a news show more or less every day. We have comedians who do a comedy show on television every week on the news that's happened that week. Who's in, who's out, who's doing what to who. And not just politics, the crime, the way we live, the economy, the way the world is changing, the way everything is instant now with iPods and MP3 players and instant news. Kids, young people, because comedy's for very young people now. Up until about 10 years ago, it used to be for people 35 years plus. Now, kids in the school playground have got an MP3 player, they've got an iPod, they can see the American news, they can see what happened that morning. So the comedy has to be current, it has to be that night.
Of course, of course. Now, Mark, you've been in the industry for a while. Now, besides this Lifetime Achievement Award, what have been maybe some of the highlights of your career?
Probably the biggest highlight was when about 8 of us went to the Royal Albert Hall in London, and we did a show called Bafani Bafani to about 8,000.
That was a huge show, actually.
Huge show.
Yeah, that was a huge show.
I couldn't believe it was happening when it was happening. And it was like a soccer derby. The Royal Albert Hall was just full of South Africans and from everywhere. Black, white, green, blue, orange, red, Muslim, Jew, Sotho, Venda, Snake Down, just everyone was packed, packed into the Albert Hall, and we had a very mixed bag of comedians, and we had a fantastic night. I was very sorry it ended, because when it ended, sometimes you do something you think, how am I going to do bigger than this? Because I can't win another Lifetime Achievement Award, so I'm probably going to have to change my name. And seeing it's Women's Day, I could come back as...
You could?
I could.
Well, Mark, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up there.
Constitutionally, they couldn't stop me. They couldn't stop me coming back as a woman. I could do it.
All right, well, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much. Musa.
Yes, Musa.
And if you married Riyadh Musa, you'd be Musa.
Yes, of course.
Amazing. Hey?
What I'm very grateful about is the fact that I can motivate and I can stimulate young kids that are coming up to say, whatever you want to do, it's within your reach.
Now I have cancer, and I have survived this terrible, terrible abuse.
I accepted and went to Parliament. I thought it was just going to be for 5 years, but little did I know that 15 years down the line, I'll still be stuck in Parliament.
Join Puleng Molebatsi on Bupilong.
Had there been harmony between the South African government and the Nigerian government, which came through in the latter stages, the bodies would have been repatriated quicker.
Now, we always get a lot of criticism as a public broadcaster, but just how far can media go in terms of reporting the facts?
Watch Media Monitor Sundays at 9 a.m. on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back. You are still watching our highlights show. South Africa has experienced a lot of service delivery protests. There are now a few subjects on stage plays that took place at the State Theatre in Pretoria.
Protest is a new theatre production. It explores the difficulties of Mpumalanga community. These include the lack of service delivery from those they have put in power. Community members organize themselves and ask the mayor to meet them at the local stadium to discuss the problems they are facing.
People are suffering. The mayor is building mansions.
Even though fictional, protest highlights some of the events that take place in modern-day South Africa. All this is told with characters representing all the sectors of the conflict, that including politicians, activists, shopkeepers, workers and unemployed civilians. The play tries to examine why South Africans are so quick to resort to violence and whether the country's legacy of violence from the apartheid era can be shaken off.
An Eastern Cape-produced documentary titled Waterless Flower reached the final of a Spanish film festival in 2014. The documentary was selected as a finalist at this year in Spain.
Waterless Flower was chosen among other entries from across the world. The documentary was the only South African movie to reach the final stage of the international film competition. It will compete against films from India, the United States and Canada in the We Art Water Festival. It is based on the story of orphan children living with their elder sister. They all share a small shack in Borolatukwe village in Mafikeng with no water, proper sanitation and electricity. The family is headed by a 22-year-old living with her 4-year-old son, 11-year-old sister and a 15-year-old brother. The documentary is directed by Twigi Matiwana and she is also a writer and producer for this. She has worked as an assistant director on the local soapy Scandal and has also written and directed several documentaries and short films. One of her films, See, Speak and Hear No Evil, was screened at the Encounters Documental Film Festival last year.
We have now come to the end of our show, but be sure to catch the repeats every Sunday at 2 a.m. and again at 1:30 p.m. We will be playing out with Heavy K featuring Nut music titled Yini. From me and the rest of the Afroshowbiz news team, it's thank you and Happy New Year.